The nothing CMF Phone 2 Pro. A name so long it needs its own zip code, but a price so small you'll forget how weird the name is. And at $279, I think they're allowed to call it whatever they want. This video is sponsored by Stamps.com, but more on them later. Honestly, right out of the box, I'm shocked at how legit this thing looks and feels. And you're going to be shocked when you find out where they put the vibrator. CMF stands for Color, Material, and Finish, and this light green phone is a good example of what CMF can do with so little. We saw inside the box that it has a free clear rubber case, a USB-C charging cable, and this little orange SIM card removal tool, but no screwdriver or other accessories. The black CMF Phone 2 Pro looks very similar to the light green, but my favorite, and the one we will be reviewing, will be the dual tone orange phone. I'm legitimately a fan of the design. Mainstream phones are getting so boring lately, and I'm glad CMF is out here still doing cool stuff. Obviously, I don't need the black and light green phones, so leave a random comment down below and I'll pick 2 people anywhere in the world to ship these away to. I won't carve my name into them or anything, unless you're into that kind of thing. Starting with the screen, on a sub $300 smartphone, the surface could very well be anything. I mean, it has been a while since we've seen a plastic screen smartphone, one that scratches level 2 or 3, but apparently CMF is using Panda Glass, which, as we see, scratches at a level 6 with deeper grooves at a level 7. The same Panda Glass covers the front-facing 16-megapixel hole-punch selfie camera, protecting it from scratches. That camera sits just below a razor-thin earpiece slit that separates the glass from what I assume is a plastic frame. But again, we may never know for sure. And now we know for sure that it is indeed a plastic frame. It's interesting this year that even the buttons are plastic. We have the glossy Essential button, which is basically a black hole for all the screenshots you want to take, and then the regular power button placed right above that. Last year the buttons were made of metal, but honestly I'm fine with plastic. The top of the CMF Phone 2 Pro has even more plastic. The left side has a plastic volume rocker, and the buttons do not pop out of the frame. Looking at you, Samsung. The bottom of the phone has a single mono, non-stereo loudspeaker grill, and a 33-watt USB-C charging port that can reverse wire charge at 5 watts. This is for charging headphones and stuff on the go. There's also, and I cannot stress how cool this is, an SD card slot that allows the storage on the CMF Phone 2 Pro to be expanded to 2 terabytes. iPhones cannot even be expanded past 1 terabyte, and here's the CMF Phone 2 Pro allowing customers to double the iPhone's capacity at any point during ownership within like 3 seconds. Pretty amazing. The orange rubber ring helps keep the IP54 water resistance, but we'll talk more about that later. Thankfully, the 3 rear camera lenses are scratch resistant and protected with glass. The upper lens is an 8-megapixel ultra-wide camera. Then we have the 2x 50-megapixel telephoto camera on the right, and a large 50-megapixel main sensor down at the bottom. The single-tone LED flash sits right below the telephoto, all surrounded, of course, with an aluminum camera lens housing. There are also a few rather glamorous stainless steel screws, which I assume are holding down the back panel, but we'll find out soon enough. Now, I haven't personally seen this much orange on my screen since the inauguration, but if CMF is going to drop a phone this bright, we gotta talk about where baby carrots come from. Because believe it or not, baby carrots aren't actually baby carrots that got separated from their parents at the farm. Baby carrots, and this is true, are actually the non-aesthetically pleasing adult carrots sliced into smaller chunks and then peeled to make them look like scrumptious bite-sized morsels. So the next time you throw away the baby carrots in your fridge that you never ate, you don't gotta worry about them actually being babies. They were just the adult carrots that nobody wanted in the first place anyway. The more you know. Anyway, there are 4 large stainless steel screws in the dual-tone plastic panel, along with a circular twisty boy in the bottom right corner. These supposedly are to add an extra modular back panel that has magnets and a wallet holder and stuff, or, a long lanyard. This modularity is a marketing point for CMF, although this year's mods are slightly less modular than last year's mods, since the back panel this year is apparently not user replaceable. We'll talk more about that in a second when we try to find out where they hid the vibrator. First, it's rather shocking that CMF has managed to cram a 10-bit 120Hz 1 billion color display into the 6.7-inch smartphone, all for $270. The screen lasted for about 20 seconds before turning white under the heat from my lighter and then recovering. But with an AMOLED panel this large, I have no idea how CMF is making any money here. Finally, the bin test. With a nice little seam or crease in the middle panel, let's hope it doesn't become the CMF phone's downfall. Last year we found a metal subframe inside the phone during the teardown, and it looks like this year we might find something similar, since when bent from the front and the back, we do get some flexing, but the phone locks out, and we don't get any permanent exterior damage on the glass, the frame, or the plastic back. These large screws might be more structural than we thought, and it's time to take it apart for reals. CMF didn't include a screwdriver in the box this time around. Maybe it was the size of the screwdriver or the weight of the box. All I know though is that if they used today's sponsor, Stamps.com, CMF could have saved up to 88% off USPS and UPS shipping rates. See, as a retailer myself, I've been shipping out my jerry-rig knives for years now, and it's incredibly nice to never have to wait in line at the post office. With Stamps.com, I can get accurate pricing right from my own computer and my own printer, which saves me an incredible amount of time. We also use these super cool recycled paper mailers, which at this point, since it's been about 4 years now, we've kept more than 1,000 pounds of bubble wrap out of the landfills, which is very nice of us. And it's incredibly nice of Stamps.com to include a 4-week trial, free postage, and free 5-pound digital scale when you sign up at Stamps.com/jerryrig. There's no long-term commitments or contracts, and you can take care of your own shipping needs day or night from your own computer, or on the go with the mobile app. You can even schedule pickups. My favorite part though, and what saves the most money, are the rates I mentioned earlier that you won't find anywhere else using Stamps.com's Rate Advisor, like up to that 88% off USPS and UPS rates. Try it yourself at Stamps.com/jerryrig, and thanks to Stamps.com for sponsoring this video. And maybe now that CMF knows about Stamps.com, they can afford to include the screwdriver next year. Either way, turns out that the CMF Phone 2 Pro does not need heat to be taken apart, which is a bonus. These screws are more than just aesthetic though, they do help hold the panel in place. Along with the screws, there is also a non-trivial amount of adhesive inside holding that panel to the internal back plastics. You can see the threaded inserts that hold the stainless steel screws in place. There are 8 small Phillips head screws holding down the inner black plastics, which do now include an NFC coil, but CMF does not include a wireless charging coil, not even when the modular back is installed. But I'm curious, does anyone actually use their wireless charging? Let me know down in the comments. The lower loudspeaker plastics are held in with 5 more black Phillips head screws. This piece of plastic also contains the singular loudspeaker for the CMF Phone 2 Pro. There are no stereo speakers, so if you start losing your PUBG games, just blame it on the single speaker. The single speaker does, however, have a lot of balls inside, so thumbs up for that. The 5000 mAh battery is also easily removable. Thanks for that, nothing. Making the battery easy to take out, replace, and recycle is a huge deal since lithium batteries are 95% recyclable, but only if they're able to be separated from the rest of the phone. I'll unplug the screen display ribbon, just like a little Lego, along with the long extension ribbon. There are 2 more silver Phillips head screws on the charging port board. I kinda totally forgot to try out the underscreen fingerprint reader, so hopefully nobody loses too much sleep over that one. With the lower board popped out, we can see the glorious translucent orange rubber ring around the 33-watt USB-C charging port. I think it's the little details like this that make the CMF phone epic. As far as water resistance goes, we have the standard mesh off to the side of the microphone hole shaft, and more waterproofing mesh over the loudspeaker opening. The whole back panel not being glued shut is probably what's keeping us at a splash-proof IP54 instead of a submersible IP67. But seeing where that optical underscreen fingerprint reader peeks through the pixels is always kind of fun. There's one more silver Phillips head screw holding down the motherboard, and it's about here where we see the first real cost-cutting measure inside the CMF Phone 2 Pro. And it's not the thermal paste. No, they added plenty of that, and it's definitely happy to be here. It's actually in the cameras. None of the sensors, the main, wide angle, or telephoto, have optical image stabilization, which is definitely a consideration when buying a smartphone. Electronic image stabilization can only get you so far. Now, you might be like, hey Jerry, where's that vibrator you've been talking about? And honestly, I have no idea, but we're gonna keep digging until we find it. Last year, CMF included a coin-style vibrator, and this year they say it's a linear axis unit, but you've got eyeballs as good as mine, and I'm not seeing it anywhere. The only place I can think of that they would have hit it is inside the lower loudspeaker, but putting the vibration motor in with the balls would have turned the balls to powder, and that can't be right. Interestingly enough, CMF has separated the balls from the speaker. The chamber of balls is off to the side, and it has the internal ribbon cable running through its center. If we go back to the larger speaker chamber and lift up the rubber speaker cone, you can see the copper wires that drive the driver. And under that driver, we get a small glimpse of what's actually going on. You can see the straight, flat strip spring is on one side, and it looks like there are multiple coils of wire underneath the speaker driver. The flat spring adds the counterforce needed to stabilize the vibrator when it's not vibrating. And the two circular coils are what pull the individual magnets, beginning the reciprocating single-axis vibration when you get a notification. It's pretty brilliant to include the vibrator inside the speaker housing. This saves space inside the phone and gives the speaker itself more volume than it would have otherwise, which helps improve the sound quality. I think it's a good move. Yeah, mine being all torn apart now means that my orange CMF Phone 2 Pro has vibrated its last vibration, but the rest of it should still work just fine. I'm a big fan of the innovation, and an extra big fan of the price point, and I'm looking forward to seeing what CMF comes out with next. Everything's still working. Don't forget to eat your carrots, and check out Stamps.com for all your shipping needs, and thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.